and welcome back, learners. This week we are working on the learning target, I can find kindness in narratives. Remember that kindness is the nice things that people do for one another, and a narrative is a story. Today's story is called Now One Foot, Now the Other. Aren't all books stories? No, they're not. This book, called Falling Up, is a book of short poems. This book does not tell a story. This book has just lots of little tiny poems on each page, and they're kind of fun ones, but it doesn't tell a story. But this book does tell a story. It tells a story about a young boy and an old man who have a special, helpful relationship. It's called Now One Foot, Now the Other. Remember that we are looking for examples of kindness in our narratives this week, and you could take out this little book and draw examples that you see while I read. Now one foot, now the other. For Bob. And this book is by Tommy DePaola, and he also wrote Stregonona, if you know that book. Bobby was named after his best friend, his grandfather, Bob. When Bobby was just a baby, his grandfather told everyone, "Bobby will be 3 years old before he can say Grandpa, so I'm gonna have him call me Bob." And Bob was the first word that Bobby said. Bob was the one who helped Bobby learn how to walk. "Hold on to my hands, Bobby," his grandfather said. "Now one foot, now the other." One of the best things Bob and Bobby did was to play with the old wooden blocks that were kept on the top shelf in the small sewing room under the front stairs. The blocks had letters on 2 sides, numbers on 2 sides, and pictures of animals on the other 2 sides. Bob and Bobby would slowly, very slowly, put the blocks one on top of the other, building a tall tower. There were 30 blocks. Sometimes the tower would topple down when only half of the blocks were piled up. And sometimes the tower would be almost finished. "Just one more block," Bob would say. "And that's the elephant block," Bobby would say. And they would carefully put the elephant block on the very top. But Bob would sneeze, achoo, and the tower would fall down, and Bobby would laugh and laugh. "Elephants always make you sneeze, Bob," Bobby would say. "Well, we'll just have to try next time," his grandfather would say. Then Bob would sit Bobby on his knee and tell him stories. "Bob, tell me the story about how you taught me how to walk," Bobby said. And his grandfather would tell Bobby how he held Bobby's hands and said, "Now one foot, now the other," and before you knew it. On Bobby's 5th birthday, Bob and he had a special day. They went to the amusement park. They rode a roller coaster. They ate hot dogs and ice cream. They had their picture taken in a machine. And they sang a song and made a phonograph record. And when it got dark, they watched the fireworks. What a wonderful day. On the way home, Bob told Bobby stories. "Now tell me the story about how when you taught me how to walk," Bobby said. And Bob did. Not long after Bobby's birthday, his grandfather got very sick. Bobby came home and his grandfather wasn't there. "Bob is in the hospital," Dad told Bobby. "He's had what's called a stroke." "I want to go see him," Bobby said. "Oh, you can't, honey," Mom told him. "Right now, Bob's too sick to see anyone. He can't move his arms and he can't move his legs and he can't talk. The doctor's not sure if he knows who anyone is. We'll just have to wait and hope that Bob gets better." This is very sad. Bobby didn't know what to do. He didn't want to eat. He had a hard time going to sleep. Bob just had to get better, Bobby thought. Months and months and months, so a long time went by, and Bob was still in the hospital. Bobby missed his grandfather terribly. And one day when Bobby came home from school, his father told him that Bob was coming home. "Now, Bobby," Dad said, "Bob is still very sick. He can't move or talk. And when he sees your mother and me, he still doesn't know who we are. And the doctor doesn't think he'll get any better, so don't be scared if he doesn't remember you." That would be very hard. But you know what? Bobby was scared. His grandfather didn't remember him. He just laid in a bed. And when Dad carried him, Bob sat in a chair, but he didn't talk or even move. One day, Bob tried to say something to Bobby, but the sound that came out was sort of awful, and so Bobby just ran out of the room. "Bob sounded like a monster," Bobby cried. "He can't help it, Bobby," his mother said. So Bobby went back into the room where Bob was sitting. It looked like a tear was coming down Bob's face. "I didn't mean to run away, Bob. I was scared. I'm sorry," Bobby said. "Do you know who I am?" Bobby thought he saw Bob blink his eye. "Mom, Mom," Bobby called. "Bob knows who I am." "Oh, Bobby," Mom said, "you're just going to upset yourself. Your grandfather doesn't recognize any of us." But Bobby knew better. He ran to the small sewing room under the front stairs. He took the blocks off the shelf, and he ran back to where Bob was sitting. Bob's mouth made a small smile. So Bob remembers. He sees the blocks, he remembers. Bobby began to build the tower. Halfway, almost to the top, only one block left. "Okay, Bob," said Bobby. "Now the elephant block." And Bob made a strange noise that sounded like a sneeze. So he remembers. The blocks fell down and Bob smiled and he moved his fingers up and down and Bobby laughed and laughed, and now he knew that Bob would get better. So instead of laughing, because Bob couldn't laugh, he showed by moving his fingers, and now little Bobby has lots of hope for his grandpa. And you know what? Bob did get better. Slowly, he began to talk a little. It sounded strange, but he could say, "Bobby," just as clear as day. Bob began to move his fingers, and then his hands. Bobby still helped to feed his grandfather, but one day Bob could almost hold a spoon by himself again. But he still couldn't walk. When the weather got nice and warm, Dad carried Bob out to a chair set up on the lawn, and Bobby sat out there to talk with him. "Bobby," Bob said, "story." So Bobby told Bob some stories. Now instead of the grandfather telling Bobby stories, Bobby is telling stories to his grandfather. Then Bob stood up very slowly. "You, me, walk," said Bob. Bobby knew exactly what Bob wanted to do. Bobby stood in front of Bob and let Bob lean on his shoulders. "Okay, Bob," said Bobby. "Now one foot." Bob moved a foot. "Now the other foot." Bob moved the other. By the end of the summer, Bob and Bobby could walk to the end of the lawn, and Bob could talk better and better each day. On Bobby's 6th birthday, Bobby got the blocks. Slowly he built the tower up. "One block to go." "Here, elephant block," Bob said, and Bobby put it on top. Bob sneezed. "Elephants always make you sneeze, Bob," said Bobby. "We'll just have to try again the next time." Now tell me some stories. Bob did. Then Bob said, Bobby, tell a story how you teach Bob to walk. Well, Bob, you leaned on my shoulders, and then I said, now one foot, now the other, and before you knew it, the end. Now one foot, now the other. This story is all about kindness, the kindness between Bob and Bobby. Now let's write in our kindness journal about an example of kindness from this book. Here's my picture.
So on my page, I showed Bobby and Bob standing together with a heart, showing that they cared about each other. I drew the blocks that they built together because they showed kindness by spending time together. And I wrote, I'm sorry at the top because when Bobby was afraid of Bob, he said, I'm sorry, Bob, and went back to try to listen to him instead of being afraid.
So now you can draw your example of kindness in your little green notebook. To practice our learning target, I can find the kindness in narratives. And when you're done with that, come on back to watch the next video to learn about today's independent reading strategy. Great work, readers!